Today, we're diving into an ancient text to pull out a story that, honestly, feels like it could be a modern-day action movie. It's got a high-stakes rescue mission, incredible courage against all odds, and a serious test of character with lessons that are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. So, let's get into it.
It's a question, right? Something we hope we never really have to face. But for the hero of our story, a man named Abram, this wasn't some thought experiment. It was a real-life crisis that dropped in his lap, forcing him to risk absolutely everything. Seriously, what would you do?
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll set the stage with this huge war between a bunch of rival kings. Then, we'll see how that conflict suddenly gets very, very personal for Abram. After that, we'll follow his totally daring rescue mission, and finally, we'll look at the massive choice he has to make after the dust settles.
Okay, so our story doesn't start with just one guy. It starts with an entire region that's basically a political powder keg. Tensions have been building for more than a decade, and things are just about to explode.
Think of it like this, okay? For 12 straight years, this one powerful king, k1u, is kind of like the neighborhood bully. He's got 5 smaller kings under his thumb, and they have to pay him tribute. But then in year 13, they've had enough. They get together and decide to rebel. Well, as you can probably guess, k1u did not like that, so in year 14, he gathers his buddies and marches out to put this rebellion down, and put it down hard.
And here are the players. On one side, you've got the invading coalition, these 4 powerful kings led by our guy k1u. And on the other side, you have the rebel alliance, 5 local kings, including the king of a pretty infamous city, Sodom. It's a 4-on-5 showdown, and the fate of the whole area is on the line.
Now, up to this point, for Abram, this whole thing is just background noise. You know, it's a war between kings somewhere else, not his problem. But that is all about to change in a big, big way. The battle is an absolute disaster for the rebels. k1u's forces don't just win, they completely crush them. They roll through Sodom and Gomorrah and take everything, all the food, all the supplies, and all the people. Total and complete devastation.
And hidden in the reports of this massive military victory is this one little detail. One detail that changes everything. Abram's own nephew, Lot, happened to be living in Sodom. So he, his entire family, and everything he owns, they've all been captured. Suddenly, this isn't someone else's war anymore.
Just try to picture it. Abram's living his life, maybe hearing rumors about this war, and then some guy who barely escaped with his life stumbles up to his tent with the worst news imaginable. It's not just a city that fell, it's his family, and the clock is ticking.
So what does Abram do? Does he send a strongly worded letter? Does he try to negotiate? Nope. He springs into action with a plan that is, to be honest, kind of crazy. He's going to go after a victorious professional army himself. And this is the mighty army he gathers. Not thousands of soldiers, not even a few hundred mercenaries. He gets 318 trained men from his own household. That's it. His personal staff is now an army. This tiny force is about to go up against the combined armies of 4 kings. The odds are just impossible.
But here's the thing. Abram is smart. He doesn't just run at them head-on. He's a brilliant tactician. He tracks the enemy army, waits for the cover of night, and then pulls off a classic commando raid. He splits up his tiny force to attack from different directions all at once. The goal? Create chaos, make them think they're being hit by a much larger army.
And it works. It works spectacularly. Abram's little band of 318 sends the enemy army running. He pursues them, and he gets a total, complete victory. He doesn't just rescue his nephew Lot, he gets back everything and everyone that was stolen. It is an absolutely stunning win against impossible odds.
So the fighting is over. Abram is the conquering hero. But you know what? For him, the real test is just getting started. As he's heading home, he's met by 2 different kings, and each one offers him a choice that's going to say more about his character than any battle ever could.
First up is this guy, Melchizedek, the king of Salem. He doesn't come talking about treasure or power. He shows up with bread and wine, and he offers a blessing. And listen to what he says. He gives all the credit for Abram's victory to God Most High. He frames the whole thing in spiritual terms.
And Abram's response is immediate. He gives Melchizedek a tenth of all the spoils. Now, this isn't him paying a tax. This is an act of worship. It's Abram publicly saying, "You're right.
That's exactly where my victory came from. He's acknowledging a higher power.
But then, the other king comes up, the king of Sodom, the very guy whose city Abram just saved. And his offer could not be more different. It's a simple business proposal. You give me back my people, you can keep all the loot for yourself. It's a purely transactional, worldly deal.
But Abram says no. He swears this powerful oath, saying he won't take so much as a shoelace. And his reason why is so important. He says he's doing it so that no one, especially not the king of Sodom, can ever say, "I'm the one who made Abram rich." He's already shown where his allegiance lies, and he refuses to compromise his integrity for any amount of money.
So what does all this mean for us? Well, I think there are three huge principles we can pull from this. First, act with courage. When it mattered, Abram didn't wait around for someone else to step up. Second, lead with gratitude. The very first thing he did after his victory was give thanks. And third, choose integrity over profit. He walked away from a literal fortune because it came with strings that would compromise his beliefs.
You see, in the end, this story isn't just about winning a fight. It's this powerful reminder that our defining moments aren't always the challenges we face. Sometimes they're the choices we make after the challenge is over. It's about who we give the credit to and what lines we refuse to cross.
Hey, thanks so much for digging into this with us. If this story of courage and character hit home for you, do us a favor and hit that like button, share it with someone, and subscribe for more explainers where we break down these timeless stories. We'll see you in the next one.